Hi, how are you? And welcome. We're about to do the astrology for business, and it's 2020. So I'm hoping you had a enjoyable time over Christmas and New Year. If you're in Australia and you're one of the many people who have been impacted by the bushfires, then I'm sending you all the emotional love, strength, and support I can. It's a very difficult time, not just for the people who are being directly impacted on, but also for the people who are there in Australia at this point in time. Um, and interestingly enough, this is a little bit about what this Cancer Capricorn is all about. It's going to be really pushing this Cancer Capricorn, which is about all the eclipses. They're on that line, and this full moon lunar eclipse is also on the Cancer Capricorn line, and it's all about creating these tensions. So for those of us who have been working through those points of tension with the last 6 months, we're going to find ourselves in a really good position to be able to deal with that and work with that. For those of us who have not been able um, to make sense of what's been happening or haven't been bothered to do the work, then we're really going to be put under pressure about what these tensions are, and we're going to feel a little at sea and a little bit lost. Um, so one of the things, and this is why I do the business astrology as opposed to the private astrology, because the business astrology often finds us in a situation where we're working with people, and while there is a little bit of choice about who we're working with, it's not total choice, because there are some harsh realities about doing business, and that is sometimes we have to do business with people because they are the people that come to us or they're in our particular market, and we don't get total choice over who we do or do not work with. In terms of close partnerships, we do, but in terms of the greater extent of that, we don't. And this does create a lot of tension when we're having to work with people who are not necessarily of our own tribe, are not necessarily of our own choice, or who, when there are differences of opinion, we're not able to harmoniously work through those, or to work through those with as much emotional give and take as we often are able to do with those who are closer to us, those people that are intimate relationships and in love with. And I mean love, not just amour, but the various stages of love in our life. Now, the 10th of January is the full moon lunar eclipse, and it's in Cancer. We had the new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn. Cancer is all about our intuitive side and all about these messages that exist in the underbelly, if you like. And the full moon is all about highlighting those things that were hidden before. It's a lunar eclipse, so in a lot of ways it's bringing things forward. They're going to show us these things, and then they're going to take it away from us quite quickly. So what's happening, I'll just run through. We've got the 10th moon, we have the full moon lunar eclipse, then we have Uranus, who brings us really nice surprise packages. Not always the surprise packages we want, but definitely surprise packages that are good for us in many different ways. Turns direct, but it's in Taurus, which is the bull, so there's going to be a lot of force coming with Uranus, and we're going to want to really push ahead with some of those surprises that come to us. It can be quite aggressive. Saturn, which is the planet of planning, is going to be conjunct with the great revealer, Pluto. So Pluto is also going to be in action with Saturn. And we're going to have the Cancer full moon, and remember, it's on this linear eclipse, so it's actually going to be triggering Capricorn. And Saturn and Capricorn are very compatible because they're to do with business and planning and earthly things. And this is where, again, can you see where it's a double set of these tensions between intuition and understanding the hidden messages and this real need to have structure and clarity about things so you can see where this opposition is coming forward. On the 13th, Venus is entering Pisces. Pisces is all about yin and yang. It's about bringing opposites together, which is good because Venus is about what we value. So that's an opportunity for us to bring together perhaps these slightly unharmonious discord that we've got going on about perspectives. So this is all going to be about perspectives and priorities and values. And this is where we, if we have not done the work about aligning our values and our priorities and putting that in place in terms of our planning, this is where we're really going to be showing we are out of sync, we are out of step, and we are just not ready to go forward. And if we're not ready to go forward, when these sudden jolts start to happen, we are going to really feel out of control. Being out of control in the workplace is murder, so we're going to really want to bring everything in really, really tight. And as this year is not about control, it's about forcing you to release control and to take up mastery, you can see that there's going to be a little bit of this conflict. And we can expect conflict to be happening in the next week or so about our priorities, about our values, and about the planning and the strategy we need to do around that. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with conflict. In fact, it's really healthy and it's really important. And often conflict is where we're trying to reach an understanding and reach some way to manage the conflict, is where we get major breakthroughs and we get these big innovative step forwards, leap forwards, massive transformation forwards, because we're stuck and we realize that if we stay here, we just stay in this conflict. So to get out of this conflict, to find a solution that fits all these seemingly opposing components, we need to have this breakthrough. So you could actually see some real breakthrough moments coming, particularly in the way that you're working together and in partnerships to really transform what you're doing and take it to a whole other new level. Now remember, when we have breakthrough thinking, it's quite euphoric, but it's also really uncomfortable, because while some of us say we love change, the reality is change is difficult. As much as we might love it and embrace it, is always difficult, because it is in fact stopping the way we do one thing and unlearning something and relearning something else, and that always is a transition point. So that's why we always get these difficulties. Now Mercury, the planet of communication, enters Aquarius. Now Aquarius, like Uranus, loves these new adventures, loves these new aspects of us which are different, likes to go after something that's not on the path that is exciting and quite transformative. So you can see that there are these themes coming through. So be on the lookout for ideas and even new relationships that are quite transformative in how we're doing our business and what we want the business to do. Because Capricorn is about how we are living and doing our business. And we've got Saturn in there, which is also about how we're doing our business. And we've got Venus, which is about values. Now what's interesting is we've got the full moon lunar eclipse at 20 degrees 0 minutes Cancer. And then we've also got the sun, it's opposing the sun at 20 degrees 00 minutes Capricorn. So again, we've got this Cancer Capricorn. Now 20 becomes a 2, which in numerology is partnerships and relationships and harmony, which sits nicely with Pisces, Venus in Pisces. It's quite interesting. And it also sits nicely because Uranus turning direct means now that all of the planets are going direct. So you can see that there's a sense of harmony building. But you can also see that we've been doing 6 months of work prior to this point, where we've been thinking about how we want our partnerships to be, how we want our relationships to be, what we value in a partnership, what we value in a relationship, and how all of this comes together. And that's really, really important for us to get our head around that and understand how that comes into being. So the other aspect of that, of course, is the 00s, because that's where it's quite nebulous. It hasn't formed yet. It's ended, but it hasn't yet begun. It's not yet a one. So we've got this opportunity to create in this space. So it's actually quite a creative space, and it's quite a fluid space. And of course, those people who are wanting control and find fluidity really difficult to work with, right? So this is also setting up some other tensions. And this is where it's going to show us where we are holding on to something way too tight because we're wanting to control it. But in actual fact, by trying to control it, we're killing it and killing ourselves. And whatever we're trying to control just wants to go. It just wants to go. And this is what we're setting up. On the bigger picture, and this has got to do with what's happening, our responses to the fires and to the crisis is there's a lot of ranges about that. But one of the things, of course, is we're all trying to make sense of it. And it's very common in this stage to try and allocate blame. And we cannot allocate blame to one person. We cannot allocate blame to one thing. We all have to step up to the plate because we're all responsible for climate crises, and we're all responsible for not taking as many steps as we could have, should have, or would have. So when no one is accountable, then everyone is accountable. That's a saying that goes with change. So this is actually going to be reflected on many different platforms, from the bigger stage that we're seeing in terms of the world stage into aspects that are impacting the country, and right down to aspects that are impacting us. A lot of the stuff that's going to happen, we're going to want to be able to blame someone for this confusion or this tension, but we all have to step up to the plate. And this is also part of this Cancer Capricorn line. It's about us stepping up and being accountable and responsible, but at the same time understanding that we can't control it. It's fluid, and we need to allow it to form and take its own shape. Now, some of this is really just going to take us by surprise. If you've already done the work, you're going to find that 2020 is going to step in very fast, and it's going to be quite a nice, busy flow time with a lot of unusual surprises, and they're going to be great surprises. For those of us who are still struggling, and there's many of us, I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be you who's watching me now, but it is going to be reflected in the people you're going to be working with. That's where you're going to have the tensions. Everyone is going to be looking outside of themselves as opposed to looking within themselves. So everyone is going to be trying to looking out and seeking to put it on other people, whereas the responsibility for ourselves always sits with ourselves. And yeah, people will disappoint us, and we'll want to push them. And I'm not saying in any way, shape or form let people off the hook. I'm not saying that at all. But what you're going to see now in the beginning when you're having these movements is you're going to see what real leadership looks like. And you're either going to be a leader yourself, or you're going to see it in the workplace, or you're going to see it responded. And we're going to see that old leadership styles of control and only wanting to be a part of what you want to be a part of is no longer going to work. So don't be surprised in your businesses over 2020 that you see a lot of changes in leadership, changes in what leadership looks like, changes in what we want our leaders to look like and what we want our leaders to do. And you're also going to see that in the business sense. And you are going to have to think about yourself as a leader because we are all leaders. It's not just having one big guru that sits up there. We're all in some shape or form, or at some time we have to be leaders. And if you're in your own business, you're a leader all the time. That's why it's tiring. You're going to have to think about, what do I lead with now? How do I lead my business to where I want it to be? How do I lead the conversation? Because this is about partnerships and relationships, to where I want that to be. How do I lead the people I'm doing business with, whether they be my customers, whether they be my suppliers, whether they be my partners? How do I lead them to where I believe we should be going with this business, my business? And that's going to be a really interesting question for all of us to be thinking about. The other thing I just want to say about this is this particular full moon lunar eclipse is it's penumbral, which means that the sun, earth, and the moon, we are all in a line. Perfectly in a line. So there is the opportunity for great harmony. But that's why I think we need to have this breakthrough, and that breakthrough is going to bring the harmony. So either the harmony is going to bring the breakthrough, or the breakthrough is going to bring the harmony. We've got both happening. We've got big breakthroughs. We've got big eclipses. We've got Uranus coming in. We've got Pluto coming in. We've got Venus on the move. And we've got Aquarius coming into play. So you can see we've got these big change agents happening, but we've also got this harmonious aspects of Pisces and Venus and the sun, the moon, the earth all lining up, and we've got a duplicate 20 of Capricorn and 20 of Cancer and 0 and 00. So there's a lot of harmonies, and 2 is the numerology for harmony and partnerships. So it's an interesting time. If you're in harmony, zip, you're going to be moving very fast, very quickly. If you're not in harmony, you're going to need, or you're going to have to get a breakthrough to bring that harmony forward, or a breakthrough is going to be forced onto you to push the harmony. And that's going to be happening on many platforms, from the small, this is me and my business, through to the larger stage, up to the bigger global stage, national, international, local. This is all that's going to be coming, because we're getting clearly shown that if we don't come together and bring harmony within each other, then it is not going to work. We are being pushed to come together on the one page. That harmony does not mean that we are duplicates of each other. Harmony means that we are confident individuals that allow the people around us to express their individuality, and we allow that to happen respectfully. We express our individuality, and respectfully we allow others around us to reflect their harmony. There's been too much pushing of us to conform, when really we didn't know what we were conforming to. And we don't need to conform. We need to harmonize. And there's a very, very, very big difference. Conforming is controlling. Harmonizing is mastery. We are that comfortable with ourselves that we allow people around us to express themselves. When we're in full control mode, we expect everyone to conform, because anything that's a difference is a test, and we will not allow any testing or any difference, because that is out of our control, and therefore that's fearful. And 2020 will show us where we are masters and acting in the full power of love and empowerment, and where we're control freaks and we're acting from fear. Okay, that's the astrology. You, because you've been doing the work, you're going to rock 2020, and you're going to rock this full moon lunar eclipse. Okay, take care, talk soon.